to Teacher Talk. This is our exit interviews for Mr. Milano. That's me.
And Mr. Ponce, that's me.
Okay, so let's get started with our first question. Well, let's talk about a little on the California standards for teaching profession. Personally, I think I learned a lot more in the spring because obvious reasons. We had to change the way we teach. And my focus was primarily on how can I keep the class rigorous? How can I use technology? And again, how can I keep the parents involved, have that familiar support? And I mentioned in the other question, but Remind really helped me get in contact with parents because I was doing research on it, and you can actually manually add parents, and they don't need the app. They just get a text, and just parents just get it from now on. So it took me like 2 hours to do that, but I had 120 parents in my Remind, and it was actually contacting everybody. So that's one of the things I really learned from this spring, and I'm going to keep using it from here on out.
Oh, wow, that's cool. For me, like you said, having to switch, from the traditional classroom setting, to a fully, online virtual learning experience, it. I feel like this whole thing completely just shocked the education system. We were so used to doing things, one way, day in, day out, and all of a sudden it's you no longer have kids in the classroom. You no longer have a classroom. All you have is a laptop and make it happen. So it's really made a big change in the fact that engaging students is even harder now. If you thought it was hard to engage a student, for 54 minutes in the classroom with them physically present, in an environment that we've established as a safe learning environment, as an environment that we established as no cell phones being out, you can't be, on Facebook, you can't be playing on your PlayStation, you can't have your headphones in, so we had difficulties engaging our students in an environment where we had full control of, to all of a sudden, I have to keep engaging those same kids in an environment where I have zero control of now. The kid now has the power to, if he doesn't feel like doing anything today, he won't log on. If the kid gets uninterested in my lesson or lecture, he can just log off, close his laptop, and be done with it. If a kid decides, to log in late into my session, I have no control of that. Kid wants to wear headphones, I can tell him, hey, take them off, but I can't be like, take them off or you're gonna get detention. I have zero control of the environment the kid is now. All I can control is how my lesson plan is gonna be entertaining, and how my lesson plan is gonna be able to capture these kids' attention for at least the 54 minutes that I would in a traditional classroom setting. So it's, with all that being said, the main question for my I ILP, the second cycle, dealt, with just that. How am I going to be able to engage these students? To be more exact, Mr. Morano, let me read to you what my question was. So my main professional learning goal, if you will, reads: how will the shift from the traditional classroom learning to full online schooling, or distance learning, affect and impact my introduction to business technology class on the class attendance and student engagement? So that was my main professional learning goal. So after I established that, I started looking at the CSTPs, and trying to think to myself like, okay, given that this is the question I want to focus on, given the new challenges that us teachers are facing, which ones can I pick here that are going to help me grow as an educator? And let me give you the first one that I decided to pick, Mr. Morano.
Okay.
I decided to go with the CSTP standard 1.2,
Me too.
and it reads: engaging and supporting our students in learning. Um, I feel like we as teachers, whether we are now in this new virtual experience, that's our job. We have to be able to engage and support all of our students, in learning. Regardless if that student, is typically known as an honor student or not. Whether the kid has an IEP in place or not, whether the kid is an English learner or not. All these kids have the right to an education. So for me, this standard was seemed to be the perfect fit because in a time where I am struggling to engage and support all my students in these tough times, you know, I felt like focusing on this one would help me grow as a teacher and allow me to better help my students because I would be able to learn different strategies and different ways to engage students. Even if the strategies that we discussed in the professional development days that we went to, even if those strategies focused on the traditional classroom environment and classroom setting, we're still able to take that same strategy and just tweak it a little bit, tweak it enough to where it is now done fully virtual, but it doesn't lose its substance. The way we approach it has changed, but the substance remains the same. So to me, standard 1.2 was a really big and important one for myself.
Yeah. And I want to share something with you. A student sent to me, former student. Look at this. That they sent me this meme, and I think it rang very true. I don't know if you see it.
Yeah,
Being a
that's funny.
streamer or a YouTuber isn't a real job. That's what teachers say. But now look at us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
So
true.
basically, how could I relate to that is, a streamer or a YouTuber is basically just talking to an audience or even talking just to a camera. And to me, at the beginning, I felt offended by it because, again, if we're trying to teach a lesson, how are we going to keep the students engaged when we're just talking to a camera? Like you said, students can be doing whatever they please. But something that really helped me growth with those CTSPs, CSTPs is our administration. Our administration, actually was one of the first districts to go forward with the next steps, and because they took it seriously, I think our student engagement is very high. I remember Mr. Arevalo said during our meetings, our Chromebook activity is actually high, really
Mhm.
high right now.
Yeah.
So kids are actually getting on their laptops and putting in work. So I feel like our administration really helped us as teachers get the support we need and begin hosting these lessons.
And that's honestly a very good point because since the high school is now a 1-to-1, you know, there really is no real reason for the kids to say, "Oh, well, I was unable to, log online because I don't have a device that allows me to do so." And I've been talking to some teachers, from other sites, and one of the biggest things that they talk about is, "Oh, well, not all of my students have an iPad, or not all of my students have a laptop."
Mhm.
So that's a daily struggle for them and to us because our administration was proactive, and accepting the fact that technology is the future. They were being proactive, like you said. They purchased all these Chromebooks, and every student has one. Luckily, now we're in the situation that we're in.
Mhm.
Every student now has a device to be able, to continue learning, which is, in my opinion, a huge advantage, compared to some of these other high schools that don't have that one-to-one, piece put into place. All right, man.